The school hard knocks, influencing young minds to be headstocks. Rhymes destroy the paradox. I'm radical. Listen to the bars, found magical. My spirit is irrational. Elohim are infallible. Check. Come on. While I'm meditating, I connect with the ancestors, including Ray, the sun netter. Ray don't burn me. It's a receptor. While I turn into under pressure. Cause net room are my protectors. While my soul shapeshifts into black holes, I continue to rap my old scrolls. Think of my empress with birth control. She says, you saved me from being a bubble. She don't get time. I say cause I ain't your cause I in and out. Contrast black windows, and you're not ready to have a child. That's indigo. After my mission to complete, I switch off the matrix so I can destroy the feelings of being hostile and rejuvenate my life force that feels depleted. Don't forget, I'm radical, so the flow and the beat. This song will be playing when there's a revolution in the streets. I'm radical, listen to the bars, found magical. My spirit is irrational. Elohim are infallible.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas. I tell you, I know what I get tonight. They call me International Man, hurry up in the building tonight. So you know, your favorite high boy, dope boy, blessed boy, bad machine, aka Back Terminator. Yeah, you gotta say your property yet tonight. Permit me to introduce to you the most powerful prophet on earth with a heart of gold and charity. We're talking about one of the high priests of the order of Melchizedek, the Meta Science Final Boss, the Meta Science CEO, the Meta Science Captain, the El Duce, the runner, the defending heavyweight microphone champion of the world. We're talking about the person that the CEO, the grand high priest of Meta Science Ministry. I'm on L. Let me hear you say Meta. Meta. I say he's here today to give us a gift. A powerful gift from heaven, a gift that has made men mighty, a gift that has made men strong, a gift of victory, a gift of revolution, a gift of freedom, and a gift that will make you a champion. We're talking about a prophet specially sent by God, a prophet ahead of his time, the chosen one sent from God to bring the revolution to the end. We're talking about the chosen one sent from God to come and conquer, become a champion, and give victory to the children of the Lord.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is the High Priest, the Metal Science Final Boss, the Metal Science CEO, the Metal Science Captain, the Metal Science Commander-in-Chief, the Metal Science Champ, the El Duce, the reigning, defending heavyweight microphone champion of the world, the Grand Hyphen. I'm on El, you done know Metal Science. And welcome to the Metal Science Ministries, Reasoning and Fellowship radio show via the HubLiveRadio.com and also on YouTube Live. If you want to see the High Priest Someone L and his special guest live and direct in 4K vision, all you have to do, my brothers and sisters, is go onto YouTube and type in on the YouTube search engine, I'm on L. And as you click search, you will see the High Priest Someone L's YouTube channel. Smash that button that says subscribe. Click the bell icon to be notified when High Priest Someone L's going live or dropping new content. And tune in right now to the Mental Science Ministries Reasoning and Fellowship radio show via the HubLiveRadio.com. And if you got Facebook, also check out the Hub Live Radio Facebook so you can see High Priest Someone L and his special guests live and direct in 4K vision. You're done now, Mental Science. Now tonight it is boiling, it is hot, and we have got our special guest tonight, and he goes by the name El Nombre Nacho. Now, I want you to give a round of applause for the greatest revolutionary in the UK that has been ever on this land. This man, Nacho, he is amazing. He is one of the reasons why most of you people out here that are tuning in as well are awake and ready for the revolution. Amigo, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy muy bien. Estoy muy bien. Muchas gracias por tenerme aquí.
Sí. Yo bien. Gracias a Dios.
Dios. Sí, señor.
Now, I know that you're Spanish. Colombian. We're going to be talking about that as well. You know what I mean? But how are you tonight, brother?
I'm amazing. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for that incredible introduction. It was very humbling to hear your account of what I've helped to achieve. So thank you for having me on this platform. It's an achievement also to have a radio show that hosts these kind of topics, because there's a lot of censorship. There's definitely a narrative trying to remove these kind of conversations from the public. So it's a massive achievement to even have these conversations on the radio. So thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, dude. I mean, let's get into it. Tell me your story, Nacho. Like, who are you? How did you come about to be a revolutionary? And like, what is your purpose? What's your mission on planet Earth?
My name's Nacho. I'm originally from Colombia. I came to this country as a refugee at 2 years old. Why? Because my parents wanted a better life. They wanted a country with more stability, more opportunity, more economic prosperity. And like many immigrants that come here, we went in search of a better life. My parents sacrificed a lot. We left the marvelous, amazing, naturally abundant country that is Colombia in order. But one thing that our country doesn't offer us is a lot of stability, a lot of safety, a lot of economic opportunity, education. All of these things are massively lacking in Colombia, especially at that time. So we came here and my parents sacrificed the connection to their family in order to try and give me a better life. And since the age of 2, I've been in this country. I've been through the education system, and we'll jump forward a bit. At the age of 16, I'm here because I'm an activist. I'm here because I'm trying to incite the necessary discussions required for our collective progression. And at the age of 16, I started looking into certain topics that oppose the mainstream narrative and oppose what mainstream education indoctrinates us into. Topics such as common law, topics such as Bilderberg. I learned who really is in charge, or who really is responsible for a lot of the evil that occurs in the world. And we're able to identify the main enemy of humanity right now. They have built organizations. I'll give you a bit of a glimpse of who these people are. If you're familiar with the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum, people like the Rothschilds, groups like Bilderberg, these are...
What about BlackRock?
BlackRock, all of these institutions, you could list them.
Vanguard.
All of these institutions are the enemy of humanity. And most people are so far removed from what's occurring in our world, they don't even know who these organizations and people are. Fortunately, I learned about these sorts of shadow figures who have such influence on our world and on our society from an early age. So at the age of 16, I started researching into certain topics. My first topic was common law. That led me to, it was just, it was an accelerated journey of realizing the true nature of our world. So
In terms of common law, bro, like what sparked that consciousness?
I learned that statutes and acts, or I don't even know where I heard it, just in school. I just heard, oh, statutes and acts aren't actually concrete laws. They don't apply to you as a human being. It's only applicable to your legal fiction. And I don't know why, but that just sparked an interest. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go research that. And I went and researched it, and I actually was surprised to learn, oh, this actually has some validity. This isn't just some outlandish conspiracy theory. There seems to be some facts behind this. So that just opened the rabbit hole and led me to every other topic you can imagine, the Bilderberg, the 9/11, to how frequency and vibration is the means that which all life exists, to DMT, to the Rothschilds, Bilderberg. This was in the space of a few months. Like the whole world just collapsed, and I was led to this path of learning what's really going on in the world.
And what era was that? Like you started to dig into these rabbit holes. Like for example, was it like the tape era? Was it the DVD era? Was it the YouTube era?
It was more the YouTube era. So I'm 30 years old. So it was 14 years ago that I started my journey of maybe enlightenment, or at least learning what actually is occurring. So it was that era. YouTube helped a lot. And this is one of the means, one of the platforms that we all as humanity can benefit from are these advances in technology, the internet, social media. We can utilize all of these mechanisms to our benefit, and we are doing so. But what happens is that the people at the helm and the center of these industries have ill intentions for humanity, and they want to use these platforms in terms of controlling people. They want to suppress us. They want to condition us to think in certain ways. Really, these tools could be used to completely liberate humanity and create a utopia where there is no war, where there is no famine, where there is no suffering, or close to that. The suffering in the world is occurring right now is largely we can blame the same institutions that I talked about earlier, the 1%, let's call them. They manufacture wars. They fund both sides of wars. They indoctrinate us into a way of thinking that makes us be conditioned in order to essentially enslave us, indoctrinate us into thinking certain ways that allow us to be more conformed and more molded into the type of people that they require in order to be obedient slaves, basically. That's what they want from us. And unfortunately, a lot of people are falling victim to that. But you don't have to. You have your own mind. You have your own connection to your creator, to God, whatever that may be. You don't need to follow any particular religion. Every human is created in the image of a higher being, the all-knowing, omnipotent creator of this entire existence is within all of us. And they're trying to remove that more and more every day. But it's within us all. And we are here to spark an evolution of humanity. A revolution, but an evolution. I don't know exactly how that happens, but I'm doing my best to connect and unite people, because the way we progress humanity is through our unity. We need to be united. The 1% are quite united, and we need to be united. We need to work together. That's where liberation comes from.
That's it. All right. No, I hear you, bro. I mean, that was a great introduction, a great story in terms of what you're saying. Like in terms of how did you become awake? Like what was there like a journey? Was there like, do you remember like the process of becoming awake? You touched on it a little bit, but like describe in detail, like what made, like was there any trauma? Was there any life-changing experiences that made you think, you know what, there's more to life than this, but I need to research and know thyself?
You know what? From an early age, I had maybe an issue with authority and being told what to do. I didn't like a school, and this is part of the system. They indoctrinate you to respect authority and to abide to their rules and regulations, to set you up later on in life to abide to all of the mechanisms of control that they impose on us. So from very early on, I didn't really recognize authority. I didn't want to conform to another person telling me what to do. And I don't know what it is that binds us, all the people who are awake and know what's going on. There's obviously something that we all have in common, this innate distrust for authority. I think it's a desire for freedom. We want to be liberated. We want to be individuals. We want to do as we please to a certain extent, as long as we're not causing any harm to any other being. And that's what human beings should be allowed to do. And also that's what the system and parliament and this country, the United Kingdom, listen to the name, United Kingdom. There's no other country on this planet that has a similar name, United Kingdom. There's a reason this country has such a powerful, resounding name. United States, United Kingdom. You know, and I believe that the people at the forefront of founding this country had good intentions for humanity. I believe Parliament was originally incepted in order to create a transparent means of democracy, one where the people were equivalent to the monarchy or equivalent to those people who thought they were above the rest of us. And for a long time, I think it worked quite well. But over time, the same entities, the same 1% infiltrated the systems of democracy that humanity had built with good intentions. And sorry, I'm deviating from your question, but
yeah, okay. Let me say it one more time. How did you become awake? What made you become awake? Like, was it like the trauma? Did you have traumatic experience? Like, for example, like High Priest someone else, he became awake because he went to Holland. He went to study chemical engineering. A lot of bad stuff happened to him, and then he found out that that there's the higher being that protecting High Priest someone else. And as a result, High Priest someone else started researching about himself, knowing thyself, and the rest is history. Now with you, like what we said, like, okay, here's a scientific way of looking at it. You came from Colombia, yeah, to UK. You came to the final boss in terms of who controls this planet, yeah. And it was no coincidence that you came here on a mission, yeah, like Musa or like Moshe or like Moses to liberate the people. So from that kind of incentive or that kind of perception, how did you become awake?
I think the distrust of authority, the desire to learn the truth, led me to a wealth of information. And the truth is out there. A lot of people that I talk to on a daily basis, a common response from people is, oh, well, how do you really know what the truth is? There's all these different sources on the internet. How do you discern and determine what is actually correct or what is actually misinformation? There is a lot of misinformation on the internet. It's not what the fact checkers will tell you is misinformation. What they tell you is misinformation is actually the truth. But there is a lot of nonsense on the internet. Of course, the internet's a mad place. But it was a desire for truth, a distrust for authority. And once you combine those two elements in your being,
but what made you distrust authority? Was that innate in you? Like, was it?
I think it was. I couldn't pinpoint a certain place in my life where I said, you know,
did you go for referral? Huh? Did you go like referral?
What's referral?
Like, you know, like internal exclusion.
In school, I was a naughty kid. But my teachers, I think, always saw something in me.
You're naughty but smart.
I was naughty but smart. I was
grades.
tops at everything.
Yeah,
I was tops at everything, and I was just naturally sort of gifted. I coasted through secondary school. When they went to college, it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
You can't coast through college. A-level, I tried to do A-level. You can't coast.
No,
You can't coast A-levels. I coasted through GCSEs like, oh, bro, like, this is nothing. And I took a gap year, then I went to go do A-levels, and I thought I could do the same thing again. And I went into a class I tried to take maths, economics, English, lit, I think, something like that. And I went into the class, and for the first time ever, I felt done. For the first time ever, I walked into a class, the teacher was talking. What's going on? What's going on? So you can't, this is just another lesson for people. You can't coast forever. All of us have natural gifts and natural talents, but you need to nurture them. You need to progress. And you need to learn what your purpose is. Learn what your purpose is and refine it and develop it, because we all have a higher calling. We're not all put on this planet just to work some 9 to 5 that doesn't like satisfy our soul. We're all not just put on this planet to obey orders and just listen to the government and listen to the TV and listen to the figureheads. Like how weak have we become as individuals where we just allow this system, this prime minister, to impose these restrictions on our lives? Because if we go back to COVID, they were telling us when we could leave our house. They were telling us how close we could stand to one another. They went as far as telling us what we need to inject into our body. That's a glimpse of the future that these people have in store. Do you know what I mean? That's mad! That's mad! How can you allow any other... Let me put it this way, yeah? Right, imagine you're walking on the street, and some person comes up to you and they say, you know what? You can't go home to your mum now unless you inject this into your body. Unless you inject some random chemical. Do you know what I mean? So if we don't accept it from a stranger on the street, why do we accept it from our government? Why do we accept these are people? And if you filter down what their intentions are and their reputation, do you know, I'm someone who has a wealth of experience interacting with the public and learning about their sentiment, what they feel about the current system, how they feel about politics. Do you know what most people tell me? They don't trust the system. They don't trust the government. They don't have any faith in the conventional political system, but they don't have an alternative. What's the alternative? What is a different system? How do we oppose this unworthy democratic, it's not democratic in the slightest, but it'll show you the illusion that it is. How do we oppose this? What's the alternative? What do I do as an individual? And this is where the revolution comes in. This is where the freedom movement comes in, because right now we're building an alternative. Okay. There's an alternative system available to humanity right now.
All right, cool. Then that's
so it's early inception what we're building.
So it leads to my next question. How did the stand-up X form, and why did you call it stand-up X?
This is a great question that I've answered many times. I love this question. It's probably my favorite story to tell.
Okay.
So stand-up X began. If we rewind back to May 2nd, 2020, and we rewind back to whatever the date was, they announced that there was this global pandemic. There was this global pandemic that we all need to sacrifice our freedoms for in order to protect people.
Wait, hold on. Is it pandemic or plandemic?
It's definitely plandemic. Sorry, thank you for correcting. You're correct. So this plandemic that they sold to humanity, and once again, who do we trace this back to? The same institutions we mentioned earlier, World Health Organization. Fun fact, I don't know if anyone's documented this on this platform. 6 weeks before the first case of COVID was announced, the World Health Organization, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and many other high corporations were running a simulation exercise to determine how they would respond to a potential coronavirus pandemic 6 weeks before it then happened. They reveal everything that they have planned. So what happened is they tried to erode our fundamental human rights. Our fundamental human rights are quite basic. We have the freedom of movement, we have freedom of speech, we have the right to protest, and in this country, we have a supposed democracy. They tried to erode all of this. They tried to erode our bodily autonomy, telling us we can't travel unless we take injections, telling us we can't work unless we take these experimental injections. Like, that's insane. And it's always astounding to me that a lot of people accepted that either, and it just shows you how well they've conditioned people to accept this. So Stand Up was born because when they imposed these lockdown measures, we didn't have it. We weren't hearing it. We weren't hearing a government telling us when we could leave our home. We weren't hearing a government telling us you need to stand within 2 meters of someone and eroding our basic human rights. We weren't hearing it. So there was a Facebook group. There was a Facebook group called Anti-Lockdown or something of the sort. And these were all people who were concerned with the infringements on their rights at the time. And we came together.
Go on. We've got some comments going on. A lot of them still, like someone is saying 197 is saying we're not free really in England. We need to step up. No, I've not taken the jab.
We've been stepping up. Like, there is a revolution. We've been stepping up. There's a revolution occurring right now. You may not be familiar with it. Join the revolution. Join the evolution. Join the people of the world coming together to help us. So Stand Up was started when they tried to encroach on our basic freedoms. And it started with 20 people. We organized the protest outside New Scotland Yard. And it began with 20 people. There was 20 of us. 20. Just 20 people. I'm hoping that some of the people who tuned into this attended the massive freedom rallies that were held in London during lockdown. Listen to the irony of this and listen to the power of the people. When they imposed a global lockdown and tried to lock down humanity and tell us you can't leave your house, we in the UK held the largest protests that were ever held here ever. We connected more than ever. We have the power. We decide how this world shifts. We decide where this world goes. With our organization and with our unity, we can evolve humanity. So, Stand Up started with 20 people outside New Scotland Yard. It was a random protest from some random Facebook group. I bought my first ever megaphone and I was born as Nacho the activist. I showed up to New Scotland Yard. I didn't know how many people to expect there. I didn't know how many people were going to be there. I had no idea. This was a Facebook group with tens of thousands of people. Maybe we were going to have tens of thousands of people there. So I showed up. And I encountered about 20 people. I encountered the police not knowing how to handle a protest during the COVID lockdown because this was new to them. The police had never been told to police such measures on our freedoms. The police, as much as they may not be our best friends, they've never attacked our basic human rights.
Hold on, bro. Shout out to 197. He's saying education. He's saying, well, as it's just not the same, and you think, what? Bless you. I'm in. Education is key. Glad to hear you. You know what I mean? You got to shout them out, Card.
Thank you. I appreciate all of the interactions. Learn. You say education is key. Learn about the movement. Learn about the freedom movement. There's a revolution. There's a revolution occurring right now. We are modern day revolutionaries. We're no longer in the era of going with guns and fighting the government. We're the era of information, innovation, evolution, progression, and unification. Revolutions have occurred throughout history. This is the new revolution. And it's not over just quite yet. A lot of people are so demoralized. And so a lot of people have accepted that, oh, you know what? The government and the system, they have so much power. They have so much power. They're going to impose these mechanisms on us regardless. They're not. It's not over yet. Like, we have so many of us and they can't do nothing to us if we stand together. But that's our issue. That's our issue as humanity. We are so disconnected. We are so fractioned. We are divided on all these different topics, which they incite. They incite all of these mechanisms of division. So it's very important to remember that when we come together, this is one of my chants at the freedom protest. We are the people, we are the power, we are the 99%. When we come together, it's over. Like, many of you may have seen an image, of like a game board, and there's these men in suits above humanity, basically, and humanity is holding this game board on their backs, on their knees, and there's these men in, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so like when we stand up, and this is part of the name of stand up, when we stand up, it's over. It's over. Once we stand up and unite, their game finishes. And it only takes one day. It only takes one day. You know, tomorrow, all of humanity can all of a sudden just wake up like that. Like that. It only takes one mad message, one incredible initiative. And humanity wakes up and liberates us for generations to come. It's not over. It's not over. We're still alive. We're still kicking. We're building. We're organizing. The revolution is happening. It's alive.
No, I hear you, bro.
I deviate from your question.
No. You've answered it to the best you can. We're just getting mad responses from 197. He's saying, stand together and again, and we will get there. 99%. Wow, what we could do. Stand up. Okay, I'm waiting for this. Let's move on to the next question, buddy. How did you build the freedom movement?
The freedom movement was built off of hard work. We worked relentlessly in order to connect and unite people. So we started with 20 people. Like I said, outside New Scotland Yard, we had 20 people. There was 20 of us. We organized, we created a group called Stand Up. On that very same day, we decided to form some sort of organization. And we gave us a name. We voted on the name. We created a WhatsApp group and voted on the name. I didn't even want the name Stand Up. I wanted a different name. I wanted it to be called Resistance. But you know what I mean? Like, this is a democracy. I wanted to run it like a democracy. So someone else suggested the name Stand Up. Someone else, whatever. There were a few names. The name that got the most votes was Stand Up.
Oh.
So people voted on the name. If a lot of people ask me, what's the origin of the name? How did you get the name Stand Up? We voted on it democratically. And we arrived at that name that now is part of the fabric of the revolution and the spark that incited all of it. Stand Up was the first group out there protesting. There was no other group. Now in the freedom movement, there was no group. There was no one else.
So you are the original OG.
Yeah, we sparked it, and no one can say different. And let me just give a lot of credit to the activists that were doing it before May the 2nd, 2020. There were a lot of activists that were, or maybe not a lot, but there were a few. And I know, I think 2 of them. So Darren, Darren, the light paper.
Yeah.
He's been an activist from before COVID.
Okay.
I'm a COVID era activist. That's what birthed me, and that's what gave me the spark to go and fight for humanity. Darren's been doing this for a long time.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I want to give a lot of credit to the people that have been doing it from before.
All right, shout out to the light paper.
Shout out to the light paper, and anyone else. Like, I think Fee from Standing Apart. I think you were doing it from before. Any activists, and David Ike. I'm sorry, you got to shout out David Ike. You got to shout out David Ike. And I've done a speech outside New Scotland. I've done a speech in Trafalgar Square once we amassed enough of a following, because those 20 people, we would protest every week. 20 turned into 40, 40 turned into 60, 60 turned into 100. Every week, relentlessly, we would organize protests all across London. All across London. We devised leaflets. We went on sticker campaigns. We put stickers up across all of London, helping people connect and unite and learn that they weren't alone, because a lot of people disagreed. A lot of people disagreed with the measures that were imposed on our freedom. So many people disagreed with them, but they thought they may be alone. They thought, you know what, it's only me that disagrees with the measures that the government. No, you're not alone. And we learned that a year later, 20 turned into 40, 40 turned into 60, 60 turned into a few hundred. It was a lot of work, guys. It was a lot of work to build the freedom movement, guys. And it's not just me, obviously. There's some real, genuine, normal, everyday people that have contributed to building this amazing network of freedom. People that have fought for your rights, people that have incited this revolution. Because a year later, those 20 turned into millions. You were there. You know what? Let me ask you a question.
Go on.
When was the first freedom movement that you attended, and how many people were there?
I think it was probably that 2021, in it. Like that's when it really got started, like, and it became mainstream. And I think at that time it was in Trafalgar Square, and it was like, wow, I say maybe 1 million people or something. You know what I mean? Like it was busy, like proper busy. You know what I mean? Like everybody from around the country, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, even across the pond was there. You know what I mean? And like you felt that you belonged and you were in sync and in harmony with people that are on the same wavelength as you. You know what I mean? No matter how goofy or peculiar people were, you knew that you belonged and that we're all here for one common cause and that. You know what I mean? And that's when the country felt like United Kingdom. You get me?
That's beautiful. I've never heard it described in that way. That's amazing. And that's the power of humanity. How amazing is it that started with 20 people? How does that make you feel that those millions of people, that feeling you have, you just described that's how United Kingdom felt, that the United Kingdom. That started with 20 people. With some random guy with a megaphone and a few 20 random people outside New Scotland Yard. This is the power of individual. This is the power of a thought. This is the power of every single one of you watching this. You have the power to transform society, but you only transform it, I believe, through reaching the masses. You only transform this world through collective action. We don't need another figurehead. We don't need another leader. We need collective action. We need sophisticated methods of composing our collective input. And social media can do this, and the internet can do this, but no one has managed to do it, basically. And the People's Platform, I'll talk about this maybe later, or shall I talk about that?
No.
Go on to your question. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Shout out to 197 again. He's saying, yeah, ain't about the name, it's about what is in the tin. So you had no jabs.
Well, actually, of course I had no jabs. What kind of question is that? And listen, if anyone's talking like me and has had jabs, mate, come on. Of course I had no jabs. Of course not. That's everything that we're fighting for, everything that we're standing against. No government should have the ability to impose injections on us, jabs, vax, whatever you want to call them, especially rush through production. No government has the right. They don't. It's not even that they shouldn't. They don't have the right to impose that on us. And the quicker you fathom that and digest it and fight back against it, then the quicker all of this will be over. The government doesn't have the right to do that. The 1% don't have the right to do that. And it's only with our obedience and with our ignorance that we permit these things to happen. Lockdowns can't happen if we don't allow it. And they didn't happen during COVID because the freedom movement, Stand Up, and all the other groups that contributed to it didn't allow it. They tried to lock us down. We incited and started protests, the biggest protest that United Kingdom has ever seen. We can't.
So you brought records, yeah. So we're talking even when it was ancient of days, like Oliver Cromwell, and what do you think about him as well, Oliver Cromwell? Because he was a freedom fighter, he was a revolutionary. You get me? He went against the king. I don't know much about Oliver Cromwell. All right. Yeah. All right. No, I hear that. All right, cool. Let's move on. You know what I mean? Because who was your competition in the freedom space?
The competition was the government, the system, the 1%.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We didn't have any. If you want to delve into the nitty-gritty of the freedom.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. You get me? Because at the end of the day, that's a bad question. No, but it's true.
You've been in the freedom movement to ask a question like that. So when revolutions start to happen, the system are prepared for it, and the 1% know how to combat and infiltrate freedom movement. So I'm not going to name any names, but in the freedom movement, I'm sure you'll find some infiltrators. I'm sure you'll find people that don't have the best intentions. You will find them, and it's for you to discern and determine who has a genuine attitude and who has a genuine desire to progress and boost us as a collective. And I think some telltale signs of how you can identify infiltrators Look at the people that don't promote anyone else. Look at the people that only promote themselves. And this is not to say this is like a definitive way to identify infiltrators, but it's a bit of an indication. If you're not promoting anyone else, why are you not doing that? Why are you not boosting all of the other amazing causes, initiatives that exist within the freedom movement? Because you should be. If you're here for the progression of humanity, it's not all about your organization. It's not all about you. It's about the collective. And the collective is much more powerful than the individual. So that's one telltale sign that I'll give you. But yeah, like the system, I'm sure, has sent infiltrators to try and mess up the freedom movement. And to an extent it has. It's caused a lot of division. Part of it, as humanity, like, it's difficult for us to get along. Like, and especially us in the freedom movement, we all have such strong ideas, such strong values, such like distrust. We're paranoid people, like, at heart. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so like, put them all together, they're all gonna distrust each other. They're all gonna be like, I don't like the way he's doing it. You know what? I don't appreciate that. I don't hear that. But there's also gonna be deliberate troublemakers there to incite confusion and separation and all of that kind of thing.
What do you say is one of like the oldest tricks in the game to divide and conquer, or divide and rule in that?
Absolutely. They do that at every level you can imagine.
I hear that. So yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, when and how did the freedom movement become corporate?
Firstly, I'd like to identify when it became corporate, and I don't know when that was, because I don't know what you mean by that. So yeah, I'd like to know firstly, when did it become corporate? What does corporate mean? And I'm very curious to learn the people within the freedom movement. I didn't even know this was a thing. So like, yeah, go on.
Cool. What I mean is, like, when did it become corporate? When did it become a business? When did it become like not organic? Like, for example, let me give you a good example. Like Black Lives Matter. That's a corporation. You know what I mean? They pay people to be in the crowd, like as actors, like just to pretend that they're activists, or they pay the government to, like, let's say, book Parliament Square, Trafalgar Square, the City of London, these areas, and have crowd control with the police, and it's all organized. Like, for example, I can bomb my zoo, in the march, and Babylon are not gonna touch me because it's been paid for. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say. When did the freedom movement become corporate? Because you said you started from grassroots. I'm not saying that you were corporate. You get me? But then when it comes to the big marches, like what we said, when a million freedom fighters occupy Trafalgar Square, Parliament Square, like, and there's police, ready, like, knowing that, okay, this is the route that we're going, and it's planned, it's organized. That's what I'm saying. When did it become like that?
I will answer this question by saying the freedom movement as a whole isn't corporate. There's certain factions and certain organizations that you could categorize as being more corporate. And again, back to my earlier explanation, there are infiltrators. It's my belief. I'm highly concerted that there are infiltrators amongst and within the freedom movement. I'm not going to start naming who I think they are. And the reason I don't do that is because I don't want to cause more division. But I also want you to make your own decisions. You need to go with what resonates with you. There's so much variety and so many incentives, initiatives, groups, and projects that contribute to the freedom movement now. You need to decide what resonates with you the most and what is most helpful and beneficial to humanity. Who is it? Is it together, or is it hope? Is it stand up, or is it stand in the park? Is it Darren the Light Paper, or is it British Lions for Freedom? Is it Save Our Rights, or is it Dan Aston Gregory? These are just some of the. You could go look all of these up, and I challenge you to go look all of these up and decide. You know what? This really resonates with what I think needs to benefit humanity. So yeah, the freedom movement didn't become corporate. It got infiltrated, I believe, and there were some ill-intentioned people that were, I don't know, paid to be there or whatever, there to divide the freedom movement because they saw the strength in it, and it's a positive. The fact that there was such an attack on the freedom movement shows how much we were impacting the system. Does that answer?
Yeah. I guess it answers. I will just add to that. In terms of like the corporate, like when it became corporate, like at the end of the day, when I clocked when it became corporate, I got upset because it's like, it became controlled opposition. You know what I mean? Like people were put in places and pretended to be like revolutionary, but really they're just double agents and stuff like that. But people still came to the marches just for the community aspect of it. You know what I mean? They didn't like. At the end of the day, I know that UK people, the people of the UK, they're all programmed, they're all conditioned, they're all.
Not all conditioned, not all. A lot of them. So I have to correct because they're not all programmed. The freedom movement is testament to that. They're not all programmed. They're not.
Okay. Now I hear you. I will answer that. We'll get to that question after. But let's see what the guys are saying on the chat. 197 is saying, yeah, like festival season, it's never on the winter. Can we ever flight until the army goes home in the end of their family? See, text. I know, I don't know. But still giving shout out.
Rewrite that question. We'd love to answer, but I don't really understand that question.
Okay, all right.
I thought it meant we only protested in the summer, but that's not true. We protested we protested in, listen, like building that freedom movement when it became, every week for a year, every Saturday, 20 people gathered, 30 people gathered in locations all across London. Shout out Ramesh, by the way, because Ramesh was there from, Ramesh, right?
Yeah, I know Ramesh.
Shout out Ramesh. Shout out Piers Corbyn as well. He was there from very early on. There's a lot of people who built the foundations of the freedom movement. There's a lot of us. And some of us may not be as involved now as we were back then, but they all deserve their credit. But we put in a lot of work to build those massive rallies. Like we put in so much work, we sacrificed so much. In the early stages of it, it wasn't all just show up to a protest where there's millions of people. The police were horrendous. They were arresting us, they were blocking us in, they were violently arresting people, they were coming in there rioting. Like it was horrendous what the police put us through. But again, shows us the power of persistence and the power of the people, because as soon as we had numbers that outnumbered the police, they couldn't do anything, Yeah.
I hear that. What about why is crowd control necessary with Babylon or the police?
Elaborate on that question, sir.
Why is crowd control necessary with Babylon or police? So, for example, I'm not saying your protests, because most of the time I don't see the police as in that are paid to crowd control and walk a route or designate a route. But other protests had police walking, escorting.
Yeah. So with any stand-up protest and with any Unite for Freedom were the large protests that we were involved with, and it involved a number of groups. It involved stand-up, it involved Stand in the Park, it involved Event 202, it involved Save Our Rights, it involved Free Humanity, and it involved Travis Cook. Those were the collaboration of groups that came together in order to help advertise those massive freedom rallies. In any of our protests, which were many of the ones that were held during lockdown that had millions of people, we didn't consult with police, we didn't inform police, we didn't follow none of the suggested mechanisms of the system where they say you need to tell us the route. We didn't do none of that. If some of the people in that group maybe went behind our back and done that, I don't know. But as far as I know, we never done any of that. Stand Up most definitely didn't. And I believe none of the people in that group did that. So we didn't do any of that. There are other people in the movement who do follow that sort of regimen. and you'll have to ask them why they do that. My thinking is, why on earth would I ask the same people I'm fighting back against for permission? And secondly, I don't need permission. I have the right to protest. We're in the United Kingdom. We can protest. We can fight back.
It's a human right.
It's a human right to stand on the street. This is what you're asking permission for, to stand on the street and hold a banner. So are you not then like negating your whole incentive? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're here to stand up for your freedom. Sorry, can we stand up for our freedom? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So we never done that. And yeah, I can only talk for our group and what I was involved with. I'm sure there are other groups in the freedom movement that have followed the recommended avenues of requesting permission from local authorities and from the police. Stand Up never done that. As far as I know, Unite for Freedom never done that. And we also always, this is another sort of criticism of the large freedom rallies. They say, why are you always in central London? Why do you always go around central London, empty buildings, all of that? Which is like valid. I agree with them. If you look at Unite for Freedom protests, where did we start? In central London, yeah?
Yeah.
Where did we go? We went to Shepherd's Bush, we went to Brixton, we went to Angel, we went to Camden, we went to local areas where the people are. We didn't just march from Parliament to the BBC. Do you know what I mean? We didn't just march around the same time. And the reason we didn't do that, because in central London, you'll find a lot of tourists, and you also find a lot of wealthier people who may not be as interested in art because they're not as affected by it. And I'm not saying that's all wealthy people, but that's the community in central London. A lot of tourists. Why on earth would a tourist be invested in some freedom protest? They're just there to like be a tourist. Go to the local areas, and that's where you big up Brixton, by the way. Brixton is the heart of revolution. As far as all the places we've gone to, Brixton is always up there, and the energy and the atmosphere in Brixton is always incredible. Like the local areas, like we go to the local areas and we connect and reach the local people, and the local people don't hear the restriction, they don't hear the infringements on our rights. When I say they don't hear them, like they want a better world. They're connected to the cause. So yeah.
No, I hear that. I mean, shout out to on the YouTube, Katie says big up. Shout out to the other screen on the Facebook, Catherine Haywood. She says you gotta get for wealth or for health. It's all about Parliament. Freedom is very hard. Like you can't just go post a letter through Downing Street. I bet the people with less.
You can go post a letter through Downing Street, but you doing it by yourself probably won't mean very much. You get 1 million people to do the same, it will mean something. When I was out on the street chanting "Stand up, take your freedom back" with 20 people, it didn't have that much of an impact. When you are chanting "Stand up, take your freedom back," and there's millions of other people singing that same chant, resonating through the atmosphere, reaching millions of people, it has a lot more of an impact. So every action that you can think of to help progress the cause, don't think that it's hopeless. Just get others to do it, or do something drastic, do something extreme, because that's how this world changes. This world changes through people that some may describe as delusional, but really that desire to transform and to innovate is what leads to serious transformation in the world.
No, I hear you, bro. I hear you. The next question I want to ask you is, why did the freedom movement die?
I think the main reason that the freedom movement, I wouldn't say it died. I would say it evolved into something different. It was no longer the large freedom protests and the large freedom rallies, because the urgency was gone from a lot of people. As soon as the lockdowns were lifted, and as soon as the direct measures on our freedom left, people lost that urgency. People said, you know what? They aren't attacking my freedom anymore. They're not telling me I need to take a vaccine to go travel. So people said, you know what? I'm just going to get on with my day-to-day life. That's what happened. That's what I think the largest contributor to the freedom movement slowing down or changing was. And that's just humanity. Like, it takes something drastic until a lot of us are faced with real present danger. We're busy, man. Like, we're busy. We've got bills to pay. Like, we've got children to feed. Do you know what I mean? This is part of the system. This is how they get us. Because it's like, bro, I'm stressed with my own life. Like, I've got bills to pay. My wife's fucking being annoying. Like, I've got, these bills, taxes, and like, I'm working 25, I'm working all these hours. Do you think I've got time to fuel a revolution? Do you think I've got time to go to a protest every Saturday? But when the danger is ever present, and they're telling you can't travel and you can't do this, it becomes like, whoa, this is serious. Then people are more willing to act.
And also, just to add to what you're saying, I think when they said, no people are allowed to enter the football stadium to watch their football, the footy, I feel that's when the people said enough is enough. They took our football. We have to protest. But when the football, you can go into the stadium, you wear your little mask, and then the football teams, they even endorse the little mask and that, you know what I mean? So you come in and you wear your mask with your football team on it. You know what I mean? That's when everybody say, all right, lads. Yeah, we don't need to protest. We got our football back. You know
bread and circuses. Give them their bread and circuses, and people will abide to whatever they're told to. A lot of people will. Some of us won't. And again, if you ask people why they took that vaccine, supposed vaccine, let me revert on that word. It's not a vaccine. That jab, that toxic concoction that they've managed to manipulate a lot of society into injecting into themselves. The explanation that the majority of people give is not, I wanted to protect someone. What did they say? What do you think they say?
For research?
The reason that they took the vaccine. What do you think most people that took the vaccine say is their motivation, or what?
Well, some people had to take the vaccine to get their job, to keep their job.
That was very few people. Very few people. Okay. Most people, I had to travel. I wanted to go on holiday.
Yeah.
That's what most people. So this is like, as soon as you remove, people are weak, man. Like, people are weak, and unfortunately, a lot of society are willing to sacrifice their bodily autonomy in order to go on a trip. Like, it's unfortunate,
but it's real.
That's the reality. That's how
they got you, man. They can get you, man. That's it, isn't it? I mean, look, let's see what the people of them are saying. Like, Catherine's saying, getting arrested. Time people don't want to do time. Like gladiators, the jabs, no jabs. Yeah. Let me ask. Let's move on from that question. Why do we call you Nacho?
My name's Ignacio Salazar.
Mm.
The nickname for people in my country, for people that have my name in my country, is Nacho. If you know Nacho cheese. The guy that invented nachos was called Ignacio. It's just a nickname we have in my country for people with my name. So that's why I'm called Nacho.
Oh, okay. All right. That's nice.
You want me to bake my government name on the whole radio?
No. It's just like you get me, like, because usually when I ask, the guests and I forget to ask them why do we call you that name? You know what I mean? And it's very like people want to know that part of the story.
You know what? I want to know why we call you High Priest.
Because I'm graduated from the order of Melchizedek, Hebrews 6, Hebrews 7. You get me? And I'm here on a purpose to heal people and make sure that everybody's aware of their higher self and be able to unlock their DNA into a higher dimension. You get me? And I've mastered the 3 to 720 in terms of the physical and the spiritual knowledge of life. That's why I'm called High Priest.
Slightly more powerful than like Nachos. No, that's brilliant.
No, I hear that. All right, let's move on to the next question then. What is your mission now?
The freedom movement has not died, it's evolved, it's changed. It's not in the same format as many of the people that have attended those large freedom rallies are maybe used to. The desire for those protests, I think, is gone. Partly because of the urgency no longer being there. Now I dedicate my time to creating a new version of democracy, a democracy that is actually representative of the people's will. Because if you actually learn what most people have in their heart and learn what most people want for society, it's not the same as what the system wants. It's not the same as the 1%. People don't want us to be subjected to mechanisms of control. They don't want us to be subjected to authoritarian regimes. They don't want them, but they don't realize that their voice matters and their voice counts. So I want to create a modern version of democracy, and I founded an initiative, a project, a group. No, it's not a group, an initiative, a project, a revolutionary concept named the People's Platform, a platform that represents our interests, that learns and counts all of our voices and allows us to create a modern, transparent version of democracy. I interview people regularly and learn about their motivations and their distrust of the government or the system, whether they took the vaccine, why they took the vaccine, have they heard of the New World Order, have they heard of the Rothschilds, do they know what the World Health Organization is? All of these topics you will find on my Instagram. I'm trying to create entertaining, digestible content for humanity that also invokes freedom and also invokes revolution, because in order for us to progress and reach and bridge into the collective of society, we need to be entertaining. We can't be boring and we can't be doom and gloom. You can't interact with people and just go up on, like, I interact with people on the train, I interact with people on a daily basis, trying to learn what the best format is to incite these conversations. And what I've learned is you can't go up to them with doom and gloom and tell them after your stressful day where you are working some 9 to 5 that you don't even want to work and that you're stressed already with life. By the way, have you heard of the Rothschilds? They're enslaving you. By the way, have you heard, you're in a few months, you may not have any freedoms or rights. Did you know about that? Do you want to help us fight back again? No one's hearing that. No one is hearing that, and I don't blame them. You need to make it fun, entertaining, engaging, and also not just spew your message to people. Not just tell people, oh, this is what I think. I think we're being enslaved, and research this and research that. People don't respond well to that. Understandably, what you do is you ask them, what do you think? Incite a two-way conversation. What's your opinion about society? What's your opinion about the government? Why did you take the? Then you start pressing a little bit more and trying to incite the more important topics that we have researched. Does that make sense?
Well, what it means, what you're saying is like just planting the seed, innit? You know what I mean, in the brain, so that, or creating the spark in the brain for the consciousness, so that they can be aware of what's going on in society and that, but do it in a way that is entertaining and it's fun, not just you must do this and you must listen to me and blah 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 and all that kind of stuff. Also, I want to shout out to Catherine. She says to have to put your best foot forward and keep smiling as there's people worse off, but England needs a big fix up. One day everyone go crazy. You know what I mean? Okay, I've got another question. What is the People's Platform?
The People's Platform is a modern version of democracy, a means to resolve the imbalance of power that we see in society at the moment. And one of the main issues I have identified through my many years of research and activism is people don't have a valuable input into the way this country is run. They are given a vote every 4 years that actually means nothing, because whoever you vote for and whoever you put in that position of power as a prime minister or political party, whoever it is, they all continue obeying the same people above them. So it means nothing who you vote for. What we need to do is create a modern version of democracy that actually stands for the people and acts for the will of the people. That's what the People's Platform is. It's in its very early inception. We started 6 months ago. We're getting millions of views on social media. We're gaining a lot of traction in terms of viewership. I would love to be able to commit to doing that full time. And I guarantee you, if I'm empowered to contribute 100% of my time to this initiative, I will transform society. I promise you that. And I will not stop until society is transformed for the better and everyone is actually given a voice that counts, because we don't have that. And that's the main issue in our world at the moment. The only people's voice that matters are the 1%. and the government. We need to have some forum, some means of contributing our collective input that counts it, and we learn what public sentiments are. Why isn't there a transparent voting mechanism? We are so far with technology and social media. The government, firstly, should be the one scrutinized and observed to the highest level. They want to put cameras on every street corner. They want to impose on our driving. They want to have this surveillance pushed on us, cashless systems, digital IDs. Why are they not subjected to that? Why don't we have a live stream from Keir Starmer's house 24/7? Why don't we have a live stream from every political meeting that they have? And it's funny because the ones that you do see, Keir Starmer meeting with who's the president of Ukraine?
Emmanuel Macron.
No, that was the French. You know what I'm talking about? The cocaine thing. They're passing cocaine. Do you know what I'm talking about? So this is what these lot get up to. Look at the circles that they mix in. Look at Jeffrey Epstein. Look at Prince Andrew.
Michael Gove.
Look at what these people do. These are the people you're trusting to run your government, your society. Like, you need to really wake up and understand how malicious, how selfish, how greedy, and compromised a lot of these people are. But it's not for us to just complain. I don't want to complain. I don't want to also just buy into another political ideology in terms of, we need reform to come in. We need a new leader, or we need a new party. No, we don't. We need the people to create their own version of democracy, and that's what the People's Platform is. It's in very early inception, like I say, 6 months in. But given the commitment and given the fuel of the people, I mean nothing without your support. Like, me chanting on the street with a megaphone means nothing unless there are millions of other people chanting and responding to that energy. So that's the People's Platform. The People's Platform is your platform. It's a platform to represent you and rectify the many issues that we have occurring in our world.
I hear you, bro. That was beautiful. The last question before we go on break is the UK ready for revolution? And also before that, Catherine is saying it's terrible because, if a vote doesn't matter, can England change, you think? And bless you and our 1% to do this. Government in vague should be imposed on. Dirtiness wrapped up 1%. Odds on us 1%. We can do it in.
The UK can change. The world can change. Through our unification and through innovative systems that incorporate the will of the people, and that's what the People's Platform is. Through community action, there are so many organizations within the freedom movement already. Like I mentioned a few of them before. Sandler Park is an amazing initiative. People meet up in their local parks every Sunday. Like, that's amazing. That's incredible. The Light Paper has created their own version of their own publication in the form of a newspaper, which most people are used to digesting, and they've been publishing for, I think, I don't know, about 4 years. I don't know, correct? Years. They've been publishing their information for years. Those are just two. Those are just two. Hope is an independent education system, liberating children from the mainstream education system that just indoctrinates them, empowering them to learn the necessary tools required for their future and separate from the system. So those are just three of the amazing initiatives that exist within the freedom movement. We have the means, we have the foundation of the transformation of this world. Like, we have that at our core. What we don't have is the unification. We don't have the organization. Why? Because a lot of the people in this movement are doing this part-time. We're doing this on a voluntary basis with no funding. Like, if we had the means, if we had the funding, if we had the time to contribute more time to this, I guarantee you we would transform society. And we've already contributed to that. We've got millions of people on the street. Like, that's not a joke. It's not a joke to have turning 20 people into millions of people. Like, that's quite an achievement. And it gives you a glimpse of what we can achieve as humanity. And the beautiful thing about that, earlier you mentioned saying they come from all walks of life. There's no other movement like this in the world. There's no other movement that has people from every walk of life, from every race, every color, every age, every religion, That terrifies the system. Terrifies the system. So, like, just keep building and learn and remember that you are so powerful. As an individual, you are immensely powerful. But as a collective, we are unstoppable. We are invincible. We are responsible for the progression of this planet. If you're aware of what's going on, if you're one of the people that happens to have been gifted or privileged with the insight that we have, you have a massive duty to help humanity, to help your children. You've been selected, you've been nominated, you've been gifted this honor of helping the world. Like, that means a lot. So, like, don't neglect that.
No, I hear that. I mean, yeah, shout out to Catherine. People need to stand up now or soon be too late. Well done, Beb, on verse 20 people. Like I said, do you think we're ready for a revolution in the UK? The way things is going on right now, the cost of living, life is hard. This country is no longer Great Britain; it's just known as ordinary Britain. Like, yeah, are we really ready, or is the people, they don't want a revolution? They rather be slaves and just be plugged into the matrix.
No, I think I'm in the best position to comment on a question like that because I go and do this market research. I've been doing this research for the last 5 years and learning what public sentiment is about, whether they want a drastic change in society. And a lot of people do. A lot of people feel completely disconnected from politics. They feel completely detached from the government. They know that the government doesn't represent them, but they don't have an alternative. And all of these issues that you described, cost of living, people are disillusioned with how the government is operating and running things, even if we separate it from COVID. So we're more ready for a revolution than we have been in our lifetime. And the system knows this. The system knows this. And what they're going to do is present their version of a revolution. If you look at reform, for example, reform, we're going to reform. And also, I would say Donald Trump is another false figure that has been sold to the people as being representative of our interests and appealed to this mass desire for change and drastic transformation, when really they are just slightly less slightly less imposing puppet than the other people have been. So it's time for us as the people, as the ordinary people of the world, to organize ourselves. And the People's Platform is that. The freedom movement is that. Those freedom rallies with millions of people, that is that. That's the revolution. The revolution is underway. Whether the UK is ready or not, it's underway. It's occurring. We are changing the world. We're doing it every single day. But we need your help. And we can't do it alone. Because we are the people, we are the power, we are the 99%, we are standing up.
All right, let's take a little break, yeah? We'll be back in 2 minutes. You're done now, mental science.
This is the high priest, Grand High Full of Mental Science Ministries. I'm on L, and the high priest on L has one question. Are you ready for a victory? If you are, give me a little drink. I'm on the restoration. I made the right decision. What do you think? Spiritual. Yeah, no, revelation. I feel the mental science tingling. It's coming from my intuition. I know. It's real.
No. Yeah. I know. I like the spin. Yeah, I know. You got to wait for the
Even in my station, I'm ready for my competition. Feel awake like my soul's risen. I'm caught in flesh in the definition. Press to a time now, I'm going crazy. We went through the misery to achieve my victory. And now we're writing on story. We now have a victory. The odds are against me, but we're still fighting for a victory. A victory. We won the war on land and on sea. So let's celebrate with a victory. It's a victory. It's a victory. Come on, it's a victory. I'm ready for battle, yeah. And I'll not lose. I'm a ticking time bomb that can't be diffused. I'm a black god, don't call me Zeus. This is hell on earth, don't be confused. And peace can't lose. in the north, man. With the evil, which side to choose? High priest in the army tank. In the war songs, mean freedom like a trombone. I'm literally hitting it all, ready to be known. I'm here, I'm most high, I never walk alone. I'm smoke talk, I'm here, out, and begin to be friends on phones. I'm OG, I'm not coming like time on fades again. I'm coming for you. We went from the misery to achieve a victory. And now we're writing our damn history. Because we now have a victory. The odds are against me, but we're still fighting for a victory. A victory. We won the war on land and on sea. So let's celebrate with a victory. It's a victory, it's a victory. Come on, it's a victory.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas. I say you ain't know what I'm getting tonight. They call me international, man. Hurry up in the building tonight, just so you know. Your favorite high boy, dope boy, blessed boy, family shit, aka Contaminator. They got say your property here now. Permit me to introduce to you the most powerful prophet on earth with the heart of gold and charity.
All right, and welcome back to the Mental Science Ministries Reasoning and Fellowship Show via the HubLiveRadio.com. You don't know Mental Science. Shout out to Catherine. In the lockdown, I was living as remote so remote trailers and to the shops was murder. I received 100 messages today with fire stream chat. All right, Nacho, it's been a pleasure to have you, but we're gonna go deep into now the Meta Science Ministries Reasoning and Fellowship Radio Show. Let me just get ready before we get into that. All right, so now let me ask you the next question. Who are your top 5 revolutionary rappers?
I like Immortal Technique.
Okay.
Immortal Technique. I like Vinnie Paz. I think I have to put Tupac in there.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have put Loki in there. Loki and Akala I would have liked to have put in there. I don't know if I'm missing any, but those are the ones that come off the top of my head. But Loki and Akala, you lot disappoint me, man. All of you disappoint me, actually. All of you disappoint me, except Tupac because he's dead, so I can't really blame him. But all of the rest of you really disappoint me. Where the hell have you been? Where the fuck have they been? Where they been? What's Immortal Technique said about COVID? What's Loki said about COVID? What's Akala said about COVID? Where are they? Where are they? I would have thought that when the government tried to, this is what they've been teaching about for years, and suddenly when it's time for the crunch, where are they? Do you know what I mean?
MIA, missing in action.
Missing. So yeah, they've disappointed me a lot, but I can't knock them for the amount of truth that they've pushed into like the ecosystem of rap, because not many rappers spit the truth. I think right now you're the best, bro. You're the best. The truth, the flipping lyrics that you put into your craft, it resonates like serious. So yeah.
All right, bless up, bro. I love that. You know what I mean? All right, cool.
Big up, sorry.
Right.
And big up all of the other UK industry rappers, your Inspector Veggies, your MC Words, your Johnny Dartons. Sorry if I'm missing any of you lot. Kieran, what's his rap name? What's Kieran's rap name?
I thought is it Cairo Morrow?
Kieran, big up yourself. Big up. Helping pioneer a truth industry of musical talent. So it's a massively required component of the revolution.
Oh, okay. No, that's nice, bro. Thank you for the support and that. Do you still speak to Ramiz?
Yeah, Ramiz is me and Ramiz are still in touch. Me and Ramiz are good, man. Ramiz has put a lot of work into forming, in the early days especially. I have like a special place in my heart for the people that were there in the early stages of the freedom movement when there were just 20 of us. Ramis was one of those people. So we've had a long-lasting relationship for the last 5 years, and I hope he can come back to contribute to the freedom movement in a more impactful way. He has a unique impact and a unique power that no one else seems to have. So, unfortunately, like many of us, we have to go back to our everyday lives and we have to pay our bills and whatever. But it's like, this is what I'm saying to like the world. If you empowered the revolutionaries that exist within this movement to do this full time, like we would transform this world in a month. We transform, like the Rothschilds would be gone, all these people would be in prison. Like we would have no, like I guarantee you of that. If we had the fund and we had the time to commit to this cause, we would have music labels that represent freedom. We would have like film industries. If you empowered us and gave us the funding, we'd transform this world within a month. Obviously, I can't just say that to you. We got to prove it. We are proving it. Like, this is an example of the sort of content, the sort of information that we can help reach the masses. All of our individual social media profiles showcase the messages and the power of our messages, the amount of people that we're reaching, and we're doing largely a lot of this voluntarily with no funding, doing it part-time. Do you know what I mean? So if you gave us the funding, like we could do a lot more.
No, I hear that, bro. What do you think of? What are your thoughts on child grooming?
It's wrong. It's wrong. A lot of the people in the government and in the 1% class of society seem to be always involved in these types of situations. If you look at Prince Andrew, if you look at Jeffrey Epstein, if you look at Jimmy Savile, why are they all like the Jimmy Savile's there shaking the Queen's hand? Why is Prince Andrew's in the royal family? Jeffrey Epstein, like what's going on? Why are these people always colluding and involved with these the most sinister of actions? Why is that always at the helm and in the midst of what's going on in the supposed people who are meant to be running our country and who are meant to be upstanding? The most upstanding members of society are always involved in, seem to be colluding with child paedophilia and grooming and all of these like very diabolical acts. Why is that occurring? Why? Because we as society has become so disconnected from the people that actually run our world. So yeah, I think it's really is a time for reflection as people to recognize the evil that gets perpetrated. It's like the smoking gun's there. The writings on the what's the saying?
The writings on the wall.
Writings on the wall, man. Like most people know how sinister a lot of these people in the industry are, in the government are, but we don't do nothing about it. We just accept it and then, oh, they're corrupt. What can you do? You can do something. You can fight back. The worst thing you can do is do nothing. So do something.
No, I hear that. All right. What are your thoughts on Palestine and why haven't you organized a march? You get me?
Tricky question.
Go on, answer it though.
I'll answer it.
You get me? The best way you can.
War, the killing of innocent people is perpetrated against. This is the common theme of like our commentary as activists and revolutionaries. It always stems from the same industries, the same people. Go back to the Rothschild, they created Israel. Go back to the 1%, they have funded both sides of wars for millennia. Like they fund every single side of war. So Palestine and Israel is just the newest form of this war that they are continually fueling. Look at, it was Ukraine a couple of years ago. Why weren't we outraged? This is one of the hypocritical points that annoys me about Palestine. Where were you when Yemen was getting bombed? Where were you when Syria was getting bombed? Where were you when Iraq was getting bombed? And you know what? A lot of people did stand up for Iraq, so, you know. But why all of a sudden is everyone jumping off the bandwagon of killing children is wrong? They've been killing children. They've been doing that. Lockheed Martin, the government, has funded Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is a UK industry that supplies arms and weapons, and they profit from war and death and misery and the bloodshed of children. Where's the protest about Lockheed Martin? Where's the protest about that? Where was all the outrage when all of these other children are getting? And so that's why I haven't fell into the trap of oh, I'm now outraged about this issue. The reason people are outraged about this largely because the mainstream told them to be outraged about this. And it was a very deliberate tactic to once again separate us. You're either Israel or Palestine. You're either it's again put people on two sides. You're either BLM or you're racist. You're either for 100 genders or you're transphobic. You're either for reform or the people that aren't are racist. Do you know what I mean? There's constantly you're either for Donald Trump or you're racist.
Or the law of duality.
Yeah, it's constant division. It's constant separate the people into these different factions, keep them arguing amongst themselves, so it deviates from the real issue, which is the 1% that we can all identify. So that's my take. I hope you can sort of.
No, you articulated it well.
That.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. All right. What are your thoughts on the COVID vaccine?
The COVID vaccine is mRNA technology, which is a new form of experimental gene therapy that actually alters your DNA. So that in itself, as soon as you hear that, should concern you. The World Health Organization, which is largely the largest funder of the World Health Organization, is Bill Gates, who has openly talked about depopulation. He's openly talked about depopulation via mass inoculation. So he talks about lowering the amount of people on the planet through effective vaccine programs. This is the largest funder of the World Health Organization who pioneered this COVID vaccine. So there are many elements that should make you concerned about this injection. I mean, it's for you to determine and for you to decide whether you want to inject yourself with an experimental injection that was manufactured in a space of a couple of weeks compared to average vaccines that take 5-10 years to develop. It was only licensed for emergency use. Pfizer, my goodness, Pfizer is a company with the worst reputation on the planet. They have the world record for the largest criminal fine ever handed down to any organization. These are the companies that you're now trusting to develop some sort of concoction that you go and inject into the most of the world. Like, it's open your eyes. I believe the whole of lockdown, the COVID vaccine was just a mass experiment, a social experiment to determine how easily people would conform to an oppressive system. Unfortunately, a lot of people failed and a lot of people sacrificed their bodily autonomy, their integrity, their freedom and their rights based on the fear that was pushed on them. So, yeah, that's my take on the COVID vaccine. It's malicious. It's a very malicious, manufactured concoction that is to your detriment, and you should stay as far away from it as possible. And don't allow any government to push anything on you, let alone an experimental injection developed by Pfizer, who has the largest criminal fine in the world. Like, come on. I don't know why this even needs to be articulated and explained, but that's the state of most people.
Okay, bro. I mean, okay, the last question we're going to ask, because we've got to wrap this up. What are your thoughts on the LGBTQ community, like their agenda?
The idea of being born separate to your sex or to your gender was pioneered by a guy named John Money. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but it's spelled like money. John Money. He worked very closely with the Johns Hopkins Institute back in the 1960s. Look into this guy, because he conducted some just sick experiments on children. He pushed these ideas that children were born outside of their gender on two twins, and he used his he was a psychologist. He used his degree to justify these experiments amongst children where he asked them to perform sex acts on each other, twins. This is what John Money done. This is the guy that has pioneered this ideology of being born outside of your gender. What I would say to people is the system is hell bent on confusing the truth and reality. You can't get away from reality. You can't get away from the truth. But they want to mix it up so they have this ability to confuse any realm of truth. So they can just tell you what you should think or what you should believe in. Don't allow it. And look into John Money. Look into him. Look into the guy that pioneered this idea. Don't allow the system is representative of very sinister ideologies, and gender ideology is just one of them.
I hear you, bro. I mean, one additional question. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have any questions for High Priest or Munel?
What led you to wake up?
Well, like I said before, I was in Holland. I was, had traumatic experience when I was studying at university. From there, I was victimized, brutalized, and I survived it. And then, I just wanted to find.
You answered this earlier, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Go on.
How do we transform society? How do we equalize the imbalance of power in the world?
Well, let me tell you something, dude. Let me tell you something, buddy. The only way for you to wake up and make sure that you'll bring heaven on earth is to once and foremost, unlock your DNA into a high dimension, dude. The second thing is to be able to connect with souls and individuals that are resonating on your frequency, brother. And then finally, as we all come as a collective, we go against the Babylon, we go against the Illuminati, we go against the reptilians, we go against the Greys, we go against the Yaldabaoth, we go against the Demiurge, and that's when we have dominion on this planet, and we are doing the most highest work. You're done, no meta science. Now, my brother Nacho, it's been a pleasure. Mucho gracias. I hope that you can come back on the show and give us more updates on the people's platform. You're done now, Meta Science. Do you have any last words for the audience?
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for helping us propagate the truth. Thank you, High Priest.
Where can we find you, bro?
Check us out on Instagram, Nacho Salazar X. Caption it in there. I think you're going to be collaborating with the content. So just check out my Instagram page. You'll see the content that we create on a daily basis. Don't lose hope. There's a lot of hope. We have a very active, thriving freedom movement in the UK and in the world. Exactly. And it's not over yet. We're evolving when we're developing humanity. Don't let them strike fear into your heart. You're the most courageous, most powerful, most uplifting being that has ever been created in existence. So it's time to stand up. We are the people, we are the power, we are the 99%. Thank you.
No worries, bro. Like I said, a pleasure, bro. Yeah, so everybody, we're signing out. Have a good night. Yeah, and make sure you tune in next week to the Meta Science Ministries Reasoning and Fellowship radio show. You're done, no Meta Science. I love you all. Yeah, and have a good night. Stay blessed. Let's go, Meta Science. All right, that was good.
Mic drop.